Epic Action, a Star Wars Unlimited podcast. Your source for community building, tournament tips, deck building discussion, and all things Star Wars Unlimited.
All right, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Epic Action. I'm your host, Raul. With me, I have Nick and Paul, as always. How are we doing, guys?
Doing good, doing good.
Awesome. We had a fun tournament over the weekend, which we'll be talking about, and this is a couple of days out from the Richmond Sector, so we'll also be providing some thoughts on what we're running, what to expect, and just what we're looking forward to it. All right, and this week we have an icebreaker question from Nick. What you got for us today?
Icebreaker is going to be, what is the worst Clone Wars character?
Okay.
Interpret that as you will.
All right, I was going to ask what your definition would be. So how are you interpreting that?
Character that most annoys me and that I think could be cut from Clone Wars.
Okay. And who's that?
So mine is Poggle, just because I'm sick and tired of seeing so many episodes on Geonosis. And literally the most ineffective, worst leader there could be. It's not even, he's supposed to be part of the mastermind group, and he's just a whiny little character during the entirety of the show. Yeah.
I mean, I'd be upset too if, I had these cool Death Star plans and had to give them up.
Sure. But then you get to the episode with the Queen and you're just like, oh my God, end us now.
Yeah. Fair.
So,
okay.
That's me.
All right. So he said it was Poggle because he's annoyed with him. I picked Commander Fox because I was also kind of annoyed with him, but more so the kind of messed up things he did, especially for chasing down Ahsoka when she was running away. I guess he was following orders, but come on, man. But really, his worst crime, he killed Fives. That's messed up. So, that's why
I will still contend that you are supposed to hate Bossk.
No, I never said you're not supposed to. There's definitely a lot of characters on the on that list that could be a potential list for this that you're supposed to hate, but I just don't like them because cool.
Yeah.
All right, Paul, what's up with you?
So look, we're not supposed to pick two characters. I'm not going to here, but one of two for me. I don't care if you guys like him or you don't like him, but we're gonna go with Lux Sponatary here.
There he is.
I don't like him. Ahsoka doesn't really like him either. If you think she does, it's all a lie.
That's another Rick.
Epic Action Canon.
I'm not gonna touch that one.
I know some people in our community, Rick, that's you, have some strong opinions about Lux and his deeds. Cool. All right. Awesome. So heroes on both sides, right? So they say. All right. So that's where you see the Mandalorian guards. I'm looking at the picture we have on screen. That's the Sentinel Guard of Satele. Cool. All right. Let's get to the Richmond, Virginia SWU League Season 5 finals that we just went to over the weekend. So we may have mentioned it on and off here the last couple of weeks, but the three of us have been participating in a really cool league run by Ruben of the Twin Sons podcast and his group down there in Richmond. They're run by RVA SWU. That's the logo there on screen. Pretty sweet. And we had a lot of fun. I don't know, how many weeks was it? About 5, 6? I kind of lost track, but it was a good number. We've been at it for a while.
About 5 weeks.
Yeah. So the basic premise is for 5 weeks. You get 2 ranked opponents each week, and you can play unlimited unranked games to try to earn specific achievement points that go towards your score in Swiss. So some of the cool achievements were get 3 pilots on a Millennium Falcon, get win with each character of a certain color, or if you get extra points if you win with every character. We had some most used achievement awards. So for example, whoever we had one person who had the most indirect damage in a match, and I think that was, I want to say it was Chip Cole.
Yeah, I was like
one of those guys.
115 or something.
114, 115, yeah, around there damage in a match. So I guess a lot of it got soaked up by enemies, but they obviously played a full match to get that. I think we had 16 deployments on Vulture droids max in a match. So, the final event was in person. It was the last weekend, and leading up to that, like I said, every week you'd have opponents that you could reach out to and play. There's a little bit of distance for us, so we kind of made it work. There's a little bit of webcam gaming. Met up in person when we could. But as a group, we played 231 games that we recorded. I'm sure there's a few that we maybe just breezed through and forgot to report, but that's a lot. I think we had 14 players for the league total. Is that right? Somewhere around that number.
12.
Sounds right.
12. Okay. But 231 games in, 5 weeks is pretty sweet.
80% of them were played by Steve, so.
Yeah.
In week 1.
Yeah. He kind of got all the achievements right away. So he won first place in Swiss, and I got him round 1 bye during the finals, which was pretty cool. Led to me having to play an extra game before that because the seeding worked, but that's cool. I think that's kind of like what you can expect in like the Galactics of people getting day 1 whole buys, just flipping into the next game day. So rewarded for his performance. Another couple of fun stats. This league was it launched with the launch of JTL, so it was very much themed about that, and a lot of the things that it encourages you for us to try all the different leaders. But there was one leader that stood above the rest. Thrawn 2 was put a total of 48 times, and I think I was at least 25 of those. I want to say I was a good norm. That was me like the first few weeks. I played nothing but Thrawn, win or lose. The Colossus base was played 41 times. Thermal Oscillator was played 32 times, and Data Vault 31 times. So
I was probably at least 8 to 10 of those thermal oscillators just trying to get that last base win.
That was me also with Thrawn playing those 2 decks. So I played Thrawn a lot this past couple of weeks, but it's not who I'm going to end up going to for sectors, and we'll get to that soon. But so what was everyone's favorite part? We'll get to the results in a little bit. Yeah, we'll get to results in a little bit.
My favorite part was just really, and I think I told Ruben this, was, I wouldn't have built certain decks without the achievement system. So it really got me into trying different things. Spoiler alert, I did not come close to using all the leaders, but I did get all the bases. Mostly, I think the big thing I found is I really enjoyed playing Hera Lake Town or Lake Country. So that was kind of my real exciting point from this. Probably my favorite part was like, hey, I found a deck I really enjoy playing, even if I lose. But then Paul had to ruin that fun. So,
so you say, Cool, Paul. What about you?
I definitely have to agree here with the achievement system, right? Like that's the best thing besides playing with people that are basically our friends. You know what I mean? Like some of the guys I don't get to talk to as much, but playing with the group of people, doing it with decks that you would never play with. You know what I mean? Like some people, I guess, are out here trying to make Admiral Trench work, but I only did it for the achievement. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I gave the college try one time, and it was like, let's get the achievement and get out of here.
Right.
You have to get dubbed for that. So, needless to say, I didn't get that point. But, got to play with a lot of different leaders that I would have probably snubbed. And I got to flesh out a lot of fun cards from JTL. You kind of get to, coming with the JTL release, the achievements were all focused in JTL, and it let us play with a lot of cards that might be good in limited, a lot of cards that might be good off meta, but maybe not so much in the meta format. So fun times.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. I think my it kind of led to me running into Lando deck, a Lando green deck. And I had a lot of fun with that one. I almost took that one to sectors too. Stuck with my wheelhouse though of control villainy. So yeah, same thing for me. The achievements were all they're very well thought out. They're unique. Like not all of them were just win a match. Some of them were use the Corvus to put Iden onto the ship using its ability. So very thematic. Like I said, the other one was like get 3 pilots on the Millennium Falcon, but one was also get like Han and Chewie on the Falcon, or Lando and 9 Nub on the Falcon. So stuff like that. Win a deck playing nothing but odd cards with Han Solo. So yeah, you could tell like they put some thought into these achievements, and I think it really paid off. It kept me playing, coming back week to week. So yeah, awesome. So why don't we talk about the decks that we brought? So kind of spoiler, we represented 75% of the top 4 field, so that was pretty cool. And let's start with Nick and your Iden Colossus deck. I have it up on screen here, so share some thoughts on like how it went, what you did, why you took this.
The entire reason I took this is because I was mad at Paul, and then everybody else had to suffer. So Paul started playing with Luke Green and a whole bunch of just sentinels and shields and all of that. And the biggest weakness for Hera is just direct removal, and inability to really get through that kind of match. You're either focusing on your units removing things, or you're just trying to hit base. So there's no real saboteur. There's no real way to gain saboteur. There's no real, like I said, direct removal and just green. So I was like, all right, what can I do that I don't have to worry about any of that? Villainy Blue, particularly Iden Blue. I know I talked in my first Epic Journey video. We're doing showcases. I have a showcase Iden, so that's what I went with. I went with blue instead of the green version I had. Just felt like, hey, it worked a little bit better getting the late game.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir here with Iden Blue. So I do like what you've done, the updates with JTL. It's pretty much like the cards I would have added, like, the No Glory, the little Onyx healing ship, it just gives you a little bit more healing.
So the changes I would make to this, like, I would go all 3 No Glories in the main deck.
Especially with all the Chewies out there.
Yeah, and that's what really ended up killing me. So when I did play Paul, all 3 of them, we went to game 3, and all 3 of them ended up at the bottom of my deck, one after the other. And then Chewy's what killed me. And there was nothing else I could do with Chewy. And it was pretty much, that was the game.
Sheesh.
I probably should have put Hondos in there by game 3. That would at least allowed me to get rid of, some of those upgrades he had on there. Like he had Jedi lightsaber on Chewie at one point, and that's really where I was looking for Hondo anyway. And I probably should have done that instead of maybe Corvus, or flipped one client, one something else, and put the 2 Hondos in there.
So Paul is your semifinals opponent. Who'd you play and what'd you play in the first round?
Oh, first round I played the Rex Green.
Okay.
The Cole had, and man, if you're ready for what he's trying to do, you can beat it. If you're not expecting it and he gets out there Unity of Purpose, good luck. I know he beat me earlier in the actual season because I was trying to do something like Piett Green or Piett Blue, and just get both of them out, and he straight mollywopped me on like whatever turn flips out Unity of Purpose, and there was nothing else I could do. I'm like, cool, game 2, and the same problem. So, but this time I came much more prepared for like, hey, keep the board clean.
Yeah,
I knew I was going to play him round 1. It just so happened that was also the same deck I was looking for. Yeah,
because it was a top, just for our listeners, it was a top cuts from your Swiss standings in the league event. So we knew like what our matchups were in this top 8 cut going in.
Well, it wasn't a top 8 cut necessarily. I think they were allowing everybody to play who wanted to play.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
They were seeded matches, so you knew who you were playing,
right?
Like you said.
And then we did.
I enjoyed.
Yeah. The kind of aside, Ruben wanted to kind of help us prepare for when we we top 8 that sector next week to have our list. We did the whole thing where you show your opponent your list and you have 3 minutes to look at it. So that was interesting, but like it just meant you could prepare better, and it was both players knew what they were getting into. I think that's fine because it was practice for the highest tier events. Not bad. He also had us on webcam for a bit, so that was cool. He was streaming to the Waterloo Games Twitch channel, so I'm pretty sure the playbacks are on there. But I was on there for, I think, Nick, were you first?
No.
One of you guys was Paul. You were on the stream first.
I was on the featured table first.
So Paul was first, and then I was on for games 2 and 3. So quite a few minutes of gameplay from us there. If you want to check it out, we'll link it in the comments. Cool. Anything else you want to? Any final thoughts on this deck? Any like tips or anything people should look for?
I would say I did not have repairs in the sideboard. I had annihilators.
Oh.
So whichever one I sit, Ruben had annihilators in it.
Okay. Fair.
Tips. Like
Uh-huh.
I said, I think hold for the non. Don't be afraid to mulligan.
Yeah.
Because I think people get too caught up. Oh, I don't have that Pershing or turn 1 play.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have Pershing, mulligan. If you don't get them the second time, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Take initiative, play your 3-drop.
All right.
Don't be afraid to mulligan.
I'll kind of use that as a segue into my deck because I got to be careful about mulliganing because of my high end is so packed with super heavy high cost units. So yeah, I mean I got to look for the looking for that resource, the ramp early on. So I have my deck here on screen now. This is what I played, Piett Blue. So I'm looking for that super laser tech resupply in my opening hand, or worst comes to worst, the resupply carrier at least will get me there if I get some enough removal. But it's gonna be real careful. I think it happened once where I mulligan and I had nothing but like super high end cards. Thankfully it turned around for me, but this is my deck. I really enjoyed it. I had talked to Tom the night before to get some feedback, and he kind of last minute, literally as Paul was pulling up to pick me up, I was like, hold on, I gotta de-sleeve these 3 price in your heads, and I swapped them out for the Relentless, which are on the sideboard now. Changes I'd probably make because I think I'm moving Relentless to the main board. I think it's just great. I'm dropping probably Architons. While it's great, I think the ambush kind of removal is okay. Getting the resource doesn't hurt, but I think at that point in the game, I'm pretty much set to use other cards to do removal. So I played Tyler first round. He had a mace deck and very aggressive. I was able to hold him off long enough for the early game with my removal to get to my big ships, drop them. That's kind of what this deck wants to do. For me, it was a very natural progression from the Iden Blue removal like Nick just had, which is more or less what I've been running for a long time. But now I get some big fun ships to play with. So that was my first round. Second round, I played the number 1 seed. So I had to play like a separate round myself first with the other low seed, I think, because Steve had a bye. So I had to play an extra game than everyone else. So then going into my round 2, it was Steve. So I was playing the number 1 seed. And he brought Kira ECL. So I'm kind of glad, I got to play against it because I know I'm going to see some of that. And it helped me practice for some play lines. But it's just like the other aggro deck, keeping the field clear early on is really much how you win. Kira it's susceptible to takedown, so I can hold those. And if I need to ping her with something small, like even like a Overwhelmed Barrage to take care of her if I have something on the board, just because she only has 4 health when she flips. So I did win that one. Steve put up a great fight, so that was fun. And then I played with Ruben for the 3rd match, so now we're in the semifinals, and he had a Bossk blue deck. So control versus control, Tails oldest time for me. Thankfully, the rounds were 75 minutes, so we actually got through all the games. But we were kind of playing a different type of game. I think Paul was overwatching over his shoulders. It's basically who can mill out the other person first and outlast units. And Ruben's deck was very well equipped to do that. So kind of destroyed me pretty quick game 1. And then game 2, I sidebarred my whole board in, and I happened to draw my restocks all at the very beginning. So I think turn 1 I drew 2, turn 3 I drew the last one. And he hit me with a Bazine early on, so he knew I had them. So he discarded one of them. A couple turns later, he hit me again with Bazine, so I discarded the other one. I was like, well, there's a pretty good chance he has a third Bazine. I knew he has a third Bazine by looking at his list. So as it wasn't his sideboard, now I know they're in his main board. Because he also just shoved his whole deck into his whole sideboard into his deck. So we were both running just the biggest decks we could. So I had to really quickly play the restock to get the other restocks back to the floor and at the bottom of the deck. Because I don't have the Bounty Hunter crew like he does. So I think that's what it came down to it. I think it was just a 5D chess game of like who's going to mess up first, who's going to run out of cards quicker, who's going to bluff it out until they can, vigilance mill all the cards he has restocked out first and then leave the person with nothing. And it just came down to he had the Bounty Hunter crew, so he could recycle the cards and just time me out. So, but we played great. It was good practice. Based on that, that's why those Relentlesses are going into the main board. Can't afford to lose that first game. He got some great mills on me. I think he took out all my Relentlesses that game with the mill as well, so I couldn't even use them against him. So yeah. So that's it for me. You guys any thoughts or questions on this deck? I know you guys have both played against it, like essentially more so Paul.
I enjoyed the deck. I think it runs well and it runs hot when it gets going. I'm always like, go low, try to stop this thing before it's too late.
I think my favorite play was last week at Weeklies against Paul. I was able to ramp super fast. He got Luke out. I think he had him out for like a turn or two. And I was able to, flip out Annihilator and target his Luke, defeat his Luke, and pull 6 Lukes out of his deck. The 3 pilot Lukes and the 3, set 1 Lukes. Pulled them all out. 6 cards just gone right there because he was holding them. So, powerful card that led to me putting a third one in. So, thank you, Paul.
Yeah. Everybody's welcome here.
Yeah. All right, cool. So
it's
now we're talking about
Paul's at the end of the day when you have to play these long control matches.
So, yeah. So I have Paul's deck up on here on screen right now. So no one's ever really gone. Luke, I know you're chasing that showcase. Been working hard to make this deck work. I think you've come a long way. I think it looks great. So, why did you take this to the league?
All right, so maybe not known to everyone, but my first cash entrance was actually Luke1, but it was Luke1 Mono Blue. And that was at SCG Con, and I really like Luke. He is like the first leader that I was like, I'm going to do something seriously competitive with this. And I think I did okay with him, right? Moving into this deck, though, this is about chasing the showcase, right? And trying to make Luke land in a top 64 spot, hopefully the best top 64 spot that he can hit. And it's got a versatile game. It's classic mid-range. It's a bunch of setup pieces that can go into a heavy Sentinel control board or into win game conditions really easily with Luke Skywalker unit in both directions, right? You got the 2-drop, and then we have plenty of lightsabers that will boost him up. You got space units on too that he can be a pilot to, and then move to the ground. Same thing. Get the lightsabers there, boost up. The U-wing reinforcements, the flip with Obi-Wan. So lots of different little win conditions that we can use to kind of control the board state, try to keep it moving. It's very difficult with control. Hardest points and aspects of this is getting past the villainy control aspect here with like Power of the Dark Side, Merciless Contrast, and then our current enemy card, No Glory. So with No Glory, you got to get the Chewie on the board to get rid of the villainy control aspect, and they are looking to take him and throw him in the trash compactor. So I've been thinking about sideboarding a regional governor or 3 and just throwing it out there to try to get some delay, because then they're going to have to take down the regional governor. It's going to buy you an extra turn, and sometimes that extra turn is all you need.
Right.
All you need is that one turn to swing in with Chewie as a pilot, with Chewie as a unit, Chewie with a lightsaber, or Chewie with 2 lightsabers in some cases.
Right. Well, one thing looking at this deck is a lot of Sentinel here. And with Luke's ability to give shields, I also often found myself having to face down a double or triple shield village protector that I just can't get through because I don't have the removal. And if I send units into it, it's going to be worthless. So, that's something pretty good this deck does.
Yeah, it's really about setting up that board state. There's some little slick stuff to set up board states like that. I've had times where I've got to play games with both ghost units. The new ghost unit, with Hera Lake Town specifically, like if you get it upgraded, which you can put a shield on it to upgrade it, it'll become a Sentinel. All other Spectres will become Sentinels as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can play the second ghost unit, when that comes out into play, it is shielded. It provides any other Spectre on the board with a single shield, your choice of Spectre. So you can bounce shields back and forth between the ghost, or if you have Kanan on the board, which fits in very nicely in Luke Green, he'll become a Sentinel on the ground. So if you can get all these units out on the board, then you pretty much lock it down, and you can use Spark of Rebellion Ghost to feed shields along with Luke, and it just becomes like a control win.
Yes. Yeah, and then you of course have the Nebula Ignition, basically Super Laser Blast for a little bit more, and with all those upgrades you got out there, you're usually keeping your guys on the board. I know you hit me with it. I had maybe 3 or 4 units, big units, and they were just gone. And your field was still good because you had all the shields out.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it comes in clutch. There's only one in there.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with Jimmy Shang, and he ran the math that like most of the time you're going to draw this 40 per. Most of your games you're going to draw this 40% of the time, and I've seen that be accurate. You know what I mean? I use it maybe half of that, but when you do use it, it is a splash surprise piece no one's expecting.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. And of course, you got Luke in there, who's just good no matter what deck you throw him in, even the villainy decks.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right.
So, yeah. So, both Paul and I got knocked out by Ruben, who was the eventual winner. So, here's a picture of him here, showing off that sweet Season League Champion playmat, custom playmat. Congrats to you, buddy. You did great. He played a Bossk control deck, Bossk Blue. So, he played it very well. So I think, very well deserving of that. I expect to see a lot of those decks out there. So, he, like I said, he made me, move those relentlesses to the main board. So, yeah. So that was the end of season 5. Season 6 will be starting up, pretty soon. We actually already have the signups available. So, I will link the Discord server information in the description. And you guys want to sign up for the league, I think there's a week or 2 of signups, and then he'll start pushing pairings, and just a lot of really cool prizes you can get. So just so I'll throw up on the screen here, one of the prizes for next league is a Judge Maul promo. Now this promo was for first place this time, but I guess Ruben won it himself, so he kind of decided to throw it back in the pool. So that's awesome of him. So for next league, first place will get their choice of either the Darth Maul Showcase, which I have there, or the Darth Maul Judge card, and then the second place will get whichever one wasn't chosen. So pretty good, I think. Those are both very valuable cards. Very, very awesome to have. That Judge promo is, I like, just it stands out. So that'd be a cool thing to show off.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like
looking forward to it.
Yeah, it looks like it did. Here you go. I did preload his deck, so here's a screenshot of his. Here's on screen. You can see his deck. Pretty. I don't want to say standard, but Bossk Blue deck. Got a lot of the staples in there. The Avengers, the Vigilances, of course. No glories. That's just a 3 of in every blue control deck, like without question. He used Palpatines to great effect, for removal. And of course, he has the hand hate built in with the 3 pillages. So worked pretty well against me, but I also had Pershing to help offset that a little bit. So, and then towards the end game, I didn't have to keep resourcing. So, I didn't mind losing 2 cards because I still had like 6 other cards in hand. So yeah, no, great deck. Good job, Ruben. Any last thoughts on the league, guys?
I think like my thoughts were already addressed internally on it. I think, just reach out to people, try to make your schedules work that, as open as possible. And you can get some webcam games in and have a good time. I enjoyed it a lot.
Awesome. Yep, I'm already signed up for season 6.
I think my only improvement would be flexibility on the ranked matches. I know there was a couple times where we got to like Sunday night, and it would have been great to just have hey, flexibility for Monday. Kind of like how we did with our League for Legion. Hey, if you just couldn't get it in for whatever reason, there's a little bit of leeway time. Because especially since it was like an automated Google form anyway, when you reported, it wasn't really, and we were kind of like doing a round robin in the Swiss. There wasn't really a need to have all of them, I think, inputted in that week at Sunday night.
Fair. Yeah, I know it does create a little bit of like extra bookkeeping, but I mean that would be cool. But I totally get it. So
yeah,
awesome. So like I said, I am signed up for season 6. I'm excited to play. That was called a casual season. So like I said, I was more focused on playing the different leaders of the set. This is going to be what they call more of a competitive season. So I kind of need to get more info on what that's all about. But it's basically, very focused on, playing the meta decks, getting ready for sectors, for galactics. I don't think there's
any achievements in this one. It's just straight wins or losses.
Ranked. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense. So yeah, if you guys anyone's interested in signing up, it's a great time. Can't recommend it enough. I think we have a little bit of interest from people up north, but yeah, cool. All right, let's move on. So,
that's what everybody's been waiting for. Richmond.
Richmond. All right, let me pull that up. Boom. All right. Well, a little spoiler there. That's all right. So, we're like 4 days out. It's Monday right now. We're recording. Friday night, we're gonna all head down. We got an Airbnb. We're all gonna be the Epic Action House. We are excited.
Do not show up. I don't know. I want to get kicked out of our Airbnb.
No, yeah.
No parties.
Well, it is Nick's birthday on Saturday, so
that too.
Yeah. I'm bringing some sake, but he says he's too manly for the sake. It's not gonna get him drunk.
He's like 15% alcohol. I'm like, yeah, I drink beers more than that, but
fair. Well, either way, we'll be celebrating. So, with our couple days left, I think I'm locked in. A little bit later than I thought I would be, but I'm feeling pretty good about my choice. So I'll go ahead and lead it off since it kind of was already on screen. I'm going with Piett Green. I think it's going to be a variation. It's not going to be the exact deck I just played. But I'm going to take some of the feedback, some of the things I learned, and kind of update a little bit for a wider meta. I think part of this deck was that I knew there's a lot of control in the field, and I know it's going to be Luke's, but I expect to see a lot of the same things as sectors. A couple of questions we had. Was the one reason I'll win? Just overwhelming the opponents with big ships and then not having answers to it. I think if I can clear the field early on, just make it turn 5 or 6, get 7 or 8 resources on that turn, then I'm selling pretty good. It's gonna be vigilances in there. They're kind of helping me get that healing off, but late game they're not bad for a double. Even at 6, I think vigilance is just a great card. So removal of something. If I can let my ships stuck on the board, if I can get my ships to stick on the board, Overwhelm Barrage is another great, just total removal. And then if I can swing in a couple times, that's it. So that I think will be a game plan. Of course, I'm going to be fighting. So the reason I think I'll lose, I'll be fighting as always the time. We're not going to have 75 minutes around to play big control games like I did with Ruben. I'm going to have to play really quick, and hopefully my opponent is also playing quick, knowing we're playing at this higher level. And
it's killer part right there.
Yeah, so it's only so much I can do. I have to accept it going in that it is potential could happen. It always can with a control game, but I'm just kind of really hoping that, again, it's sectors, it's a higher level, people are like playing quick. I want to give a huge shout out to Tyler. He was my round 1 opponent in the Swiss in the league and on the tournament this last Saturday. And he just played, him and I just played really quick. Like we were snapping, we knew our decision trees, like we knew what we were doing. We got our games done with plenty of time to spare. So it's a huge shout out to you, Tyler. Great opponent. He was a mace player. So other than that, the time, I think low to the ground aggro decks are going to be an issue for me. Also shout out to my girlfriend Norma. She beat me 2-0 at the last weeklies with using Leia Green. So, proud of her. Almost took down Nick too, from what I hear. Yep. So, I was gonna watch out for that. I gotta test a little bit more into Sabine, but I think I'm okay. I usually deal with her pretty well, especially since she's so susceptible to takedown. So I pulled that early on. I'm just holding on to it till she pops out, and I'm okay after that. For the most part, get to the Super Laser Blast and just start dropping the ships. They usually don't have an answer.
I think I was gonna say the biggest problem with Leia comparatively is just the action cheating.
Yeah,
that was really what killed it. It's like, even if I can remove something, they already cheated that, so I can't remove the thing that hasn't attacked yet.
Yep. No, she thinks she hit me for 9 damage, 12 damage back to back, just being able to attack with both units with either their little assault or something that buffs them. So I think I feel pretty good. I am showcase chasing a little bit. It's one of the ones I don't have, one of the few ones I don't have. So it'd be cool to get him. If I don't, cool. I will go get some side event games in. All right. I'm gonna go with Nick next. Who we think you're taking? I put both of your. You gave me 2 options. You put up the others, so I got both of them here.
And I'm sitting here making decks right now. So, am I locked in? No. Am I probably gonna play Iden at this point? Yes.
All right.
It's a terrible answer. It sounds so boring. I hate it. I wanted to play Hera Lake Country. It's gonna be hard running up against Luke, and I think given everybody saw what Stevie from Q2OD did, they're going to be like, oh, he did that in a Django meta? Well, of course that's going to work in the non-Django meta. And everybody wants the Luke showcase too, so I fully expect to be a lot of Luke Green. Probably a lot of Anakin Blue, Quinlan. Obviously, I think Quinlan's going to be if I don't win, that'll be one of the reasons the hand hate. I just not getting the draws early enough and then being hand hated down. I feel fine if I can get Pershing out first, and then maybe a I'm not your father.
Right.
I'm
your father. Well, we've well documented on Epic Action the Iden versus Quinlan showdown. It doesn't usually work great for Iden, but with the new set, maybe there's a fighting chance. So
I think there's a chance. I don't know. I put the other one. I put Boba, right? I tried to make a Boba deck the other day, and I just ran it a few times, and it was getting smoked by some stuff that I was like, okay, we'll wait. Maybe I can get some other stuff in another future set, but
Boba's close second for me. I think when we lost Triple Dark Raid, it kind of deflated my excitement for a little bit because that Devastator dropped super early on was so huge.
Yeah.
But I think it still has legs. I know at least one over 2 of our locals are running as sectors. Adam has been really heavy testing this, so I expect he has some confidence this will do well for him.
I think my biggest problem, I think it's gonna go back to my first video on it. It's just it's gonna fall just a little short. It's right on the cusp, but some of the other stuff is more well defined. I think maybe if you get a rotation out of some of the first set stuff, then it becomes a lot more viable. Depending on what we get in the next year. But I think it's just short.
Well, I think it's a conversation we'll be having a lot over the next years. Like, well, once the first set rotates out, this card or that card is going to be much, more playable, better, etc. So definitely start to, it's not that far off, a little under a year, right? So definitely start thinking about that. Awesome. All right, let's move it on to Paul. What you got for us?
So I pretty much explained my deck, right? There might be some changes for sectors. There might not be. I think I gave it a good run earlier, so I'm not going to go over my deck in that way anymore.
Yep.
But I think I got a really good matchup into the aggro. I think I have a decent matchup into control. Of course, it did get me in the final round of our tournament that we just went through. But
right. So just to be clear, we're talking about Luke1 Green for your deck.
Luke1 Green, yeah. And the mid range is a scary part. I think there's going to be a huge amount of mid range in this field, and you're going to see it in the form of Luke Green, Quinlan Tarkentown, Boba Yellow, Han Green. These Han Yellow, you're going to get that mid range gameplay, and it's going to come in pretty big. This sector, as I'm thinking, and it is the hardest part. So I have been doing my best to practice. I look forward to sectors. I'm going to have a great time, win, lose, or side games.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I'm hoping you get that. Your showcase. That's the video. That's the picture I got on the screen. Is the Luke showcase. Looks real nice. I'm gonna be rooting for you, man. So hopefully you get it. Or I know we have a couple of people going for it too. So hopefully someone walks away with it.
That's kind of the dream, right? Like go for the dream.
Yeah. Awesome. So just kind of closing thoughts. I guess you kind of alluded to it. You're excited for sectors, win or lose. This is, for me at least, I think for everyone here probably is the biggest SWU event we've gone to.
Oh,
so far.
Yeah.
Like even the PQs, I think for me, like max PQ has been like 40-ish people, 50 people. I haven't gone to like the 120 plus big PQs.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the games and stuff one, which is probably maxed out 128.
Yeah, so you have a little bit of experience. I'm just and from what accounts, it sounds like they will be kind of generous with giving us some bathroom breaks. I know I'm going to be worried about that.
Yeah.
Breaks are essential, guys.
I've never understood that. Like coming into TCGs, we were able to run 4 or 5 Legion rounds in a day, and somehow find time for a lunch break. 15 minutes in between each game. The idea that you guys that they can't take a 20-minute like lunch break, and they just want to run round after round after round, or just take one round off.
Right?
Like, is it really making that much of a difference if you get 9 rounds versus 8?
Right.
At that point, I just feel like.
And I remember
run one more, bring people back next morning, run a round or two. Then if we really need.
Well, I remember when you and I started going to these bigger events, and we kept asking, like, "Do we have a lunch break? Like, when's our lunch break?" And we were like, "There's no lunch break." It's like, oh,
break? I'm like,
what?
You're going from 9 to 7, and you're not gonna have a lunch break? Like, come on.
Yeah, like you said, for Legion, for example, like I'm gonna be running a Richmond Open in 2 weeks. So it looks like we're gonna do a 4-round tournament in one day. So, we're starting at 9 a.m. 9:30 is registration. So first round's at 10. It's 2.5-hour rounds, and we're gonna get 3 in, but there is like a 45-minute lunch break in there, and we're still finishing up around like 7 or 8. So like, just kind of wish that was more common in CCG, because otherwise they're just trying to get us through all these games so they get to the next one.
Like I don't mind for sure. I don't mind 3 right in a row, and then maybe a 10, 15 minute, and then 3, and then but there's got to be some bit of a break, not this constant.
Right.
Win quicker.
Right. I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the only choice. You're like, oh, I want to go to the bathroom, so now I have to play aggro.
Right.
That's not real. What are you guys doing? Come on.
Cool. No, I'm excited. I feel good that locked in. Finally get the choice. I don't think I'm gonna waffle too hard. I think I got like a couple cards. I basically have like an 18 card sideboard now. I gotta whittle that down and then I'm good. I think my main deck is set. I just need to think about what I think I need to sideboard against. It's probably the mirror. So a little bit less so now that I'm maining Relentless. So I know there's a little bit of aggro tech in there, some low cost Sentinels, and a little bit more removal if I need to like go to that. But no, sounds good. We're gonna do all the side events too. I'm taking my Twin Suns deck. I got a fun one built over the weekend. Lando, new Lando and Leia, Lake Town. Works pretty fine. Just a bunch of Sentinels with shields. Yeah. What are you guys thoughts before we wrap it up?
If you haven't made the decision, come on out. It's gonna be fun. I mean, yeah, maybe you won't be able to go to the bathroom all day, but you at least get a lot of matches in.
Right.
It's my birthday.
Yep.
Saturday, obviously. Since we're gonna throw that out there. What? Episode 3 is back in theaters this weekend.
Yep.
You know, who knows? Maybe we go to that. Maybe we get a bunch of people to do that. And I don't know. We'll have some fun. If we don't make it to day 2, it's going to be more fun.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, we're
day
down
2, we're going to
weekend,
go to bed early. We'll
Yeah.
celebrate another day.
Right. Yeah. Along those lines, if you guys, feel free to see us at the event. Please come up, talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. No like super promises, but I'm trying to work on a little bit of swag that I can give away just to people who are coming up to talk to us, maybe like some sort of token or something, but no promise, but I'm gonna try. But either way, definitely do come talk to us, just hang out. We love to hear from you.
For sure.
Definitely.
Come and see us.
Yes.
Good point.
Cool.
Like, subscribe, do all those things.
Right, yeah, I've
hit
kind of
all those omnivore buttons.
Yeah, I've shied away from doing that just because it makes me cringe. But I guess we kind of need to do it if we want to grow. Just remind you guys, help us out, give that like, share, whatever you can do to share it out. We're trying to grow. And the easiest, we're not asking for money or anything. So the easiest thing you can do is just share us with your friends, share us with your other community members, and join our Discord. Come. We have a lot of deck techs going on all the time. We have players like almost every night jumping on and arranging games, talking about their decks, just kind of doing some discussions and planning future events. So we hope to see you there.
Yeah, and if you hit the like button harder, it records exactly how hard you hit the like button. So we'll have a prize for that. Prize for the hardest like button. So just
there you go.
Hit it as hard as you can.
Epic action fact canon. Awesome. Paul, anything you want to leave us with? Any words of wisdom?
So I've been to the SCG 1K games for Star Wars. There's a lot of people. It's a lot of good times.
Assuming they put you at the right table.
Right.
Yeah. don't mind my past experiences. I've gone through it. But I'm gonna be there early. Everybody get there early. Take your seats. Have a good time. Be prepped. Get some sleep the night before, and be friendly to your opponents, guys. Everybody wants to win, right? The person you're playing across from wants to win too. Be nice to your opponents, guys. Let's not be on a subreddit this weekend.
That sounds
don't be on a subreddit. Don't be on the podcast for about a reason.
Yeah, and with that, I think we'll land the ship. So for Epic Action, I'm Raul.
I'm Nick.
Well,
later, everybody.